Is WWE trying to eliminate all elite wrestling with their recent tactics? This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin Kellum. What do you think? Yes? The tribalism in the comments. We can see you coming. Get in the comments and let us know what you think. Let us know how you would change the wrestling war between AEW and WWE to your own personal liking. Yes. Hit the like button, share the link so you don't stink. Let us know what you think. WWE versus AEW. It is a conversation that rages on and on amongst wrestling fans on the internet. The narrative ever since AEW came into existence with big money backing from an NFL team executive in 2019 has been a challenging one. AEW is the challenger brand to WWE's long-standing dominance in the genre of professional wrestling, but AEW has promised to deliver the alternative at the strongest level we've ever seen since maybe WCW, and they've certainly done that. The excitement hit a fever pitch when AEW's flagship show, Dynamite, went head-to-head with WWE's NXT, and what became an instant ratings war on Wednesdays, especially on the basic cable platform in North America. Dynamite really beat NXT week after week for the most part. It was an interesting thing to see these two different brands go head-to-head, but AEW's fresh storytelling, high-energy matches, star-studded roster struck a chord with viewers hungry for something new. At a time when some people felt that WWE wasn't presenting that, even though NXT was still quite fresh within the broader spectrum of everything WWE. So much so that WWE had long treated NXT as a developmental brand, even though maybe in the eyes of some fans, it was more than that. It forced them to rethink strategy and make the move of shifting NXT from Wednesday nights to Tuesday nights in an attempt to avoid direct competition. Eventually, WWE's high brass took control of NXT and changed it completely and focused it much more on being a developmental brand that would sporadically see stars from Raw and SmackDown come in. It has been years since then, and the dynamic has truly changed. WWE itself has undergone massive transformations. Vince McMahon, the man synonymous with WWE as a global brand, stepped down, handing over creative control to Triple H under the new ownership of TKO. Since the sale to TKO, WWE has adopted a fresh, more aggressive approach in terms of how they may or may not be dealing with AEW. And it seems like we know how they're dealing with AEW. WWE may claim otherwise publicly, and in some other words, it's just counterprogramming is a wild coincidence. But it's hard to ignore the fact that WWE has stepped up their clear attempts to pursue AEW and take them out or maybe just marginalize them as much as possible. As part of this strategy, WWE is now clashing head-to-head with AEW and their programming moves. Continuing a new aggressive strategy, WWE has set WrestlePalooza coming up in September to compete directly with AEW's All Out on specifically September 20th. Back in July, WWE also had a major weekend of events in Atlanta, Georgia, featuring the last match of WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg on Saturday night's main event, which broadcasted on Peacock and NBC, and the return of the all-women supercard Evolution. These shows were scheduled on the same weekend as AEW's biggest show of the year, All In Texas. AEW's Double or Nothing weekend in 2025 went head-to-head with WWE's Saturday night's main event and NXT Battleground, splitting the attention of wrestling fans. And in a similar fashion, when AEW took its Grand Slam event to Australia, WWE counter-programmed with NXT Vengeance Day during the same weekend. Not only this, there is also reports suggesting that WWE is once again throwing its weight around, scheduling John Cena's final match to go directly against AEW's World End pay-per-view, signaling another deliberate strategy to overshadow AEW. There are plenty more examples of WWE taking aim at AEW, both in how they schedule their shows and their not-so-subtle digs that are thrown in during on-air segments and interviews. WWE's executive Nick Khan, who's put the company in multi-billion-dollar media rights deals, and Triple H don't exactly whisper sweet nothings about AEW. These instances are no accident, and it is clear that WWE does see AEW as somewhat of a threat within the industry where they're the worldwide leader. In an ideal world for WWE, there is no AEW. On the other hand, AEW has been hit hard by the circumstances they put in motion years ago, an increased competitive market for TV-ready wrestling stars, and those talent losses of several wrestlers leaving the company to join WWE have created a negative effect. Some WWE stars who had previously jumped ship to All Elite Wrestling are now returning to WWE in the most recent years, further weakening AEW's star power at the top. That doesn't mean that they don't have new stars to take those places and other veteran talents who can also step up. Recently popular names like Penta, Rey Fenix, Aleister Black, Rusev, Ricky Starks, and others have exited AEW for WWE. This follows other high-profile departures, including Cody Rhodes, who got the WrestleMania red carpet rolled out for him to return to WWE. CM Punk, who was fired by AEW for all that backstage stuff you may already know about if you're watching this video, he gets to return in Chicago, his hometown, to one of the biggest pops I've ever heard live. This all adds to the uncertainty that is going on with Chris Jericho, the man who certainly came over from the WWE fold, even though he was a free agent at the time, and really helped put the brand of AEW on the map. Could he also leave AEW to sign with WWE for a final gallop in his career, posting another potential blow to AEW's roster and their overall appeal? We have a video breaking down everything with Jericho specifically. Check it out on our channel. With this recent acquisition of AAA in the Lucha Libre world, a collaboration with TNA and NXT, its deliberate expansion into the independent wrestling scene with the WWE ID program, WWE is taking steps to regain even further wider control of the wrestling industry. These moves suggest that WWE wants to limit competition, reassert its position as the dominant force, aiming to create maybe the undeniable top company in all of professional wrestling. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that WWE is going all in on counter-programming All Elite Wrestling, with the intention of driving Tony Khan's well-funded business out of business. According to Meltzer, WWE's goal is to not only weaken AEW's position in the market, but also prevent them from securing another lucrative and needed TV deal, the lifeblood of any major wrestling player, making TNA the second largest wrestling promotion. Meltzer stated on Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE really wants TNA to become the other promotion because they can control TNA. They just want this guy out of the box, and they know that if the numbers stay good, that he's going to get a renewal at a much bigger number. And by renewal, they mean a new media deal. However, what they don't realize is eliminating AEW, if that is indeed the end game here, trying to dominate the entire wrestling industry may not benefit everyone. AEW's rise has forced WWE to step up their game overall, pushing it to deliver a much better product, giving fans something to get excited about. Yes, some of you are going to complain in the comments, we can hear you, but would we have gotten a moment like WrestleMania 40 if WWE didn't have a fire lit underneath it to give us something big like that? The competition has led to an emergence of new superstars, increased attendance, and increased viewership, breaking records across the world. Without the rivalry, the industry would lose the energy and innovation to keep thriving and keep pushing. If WWE regains a monopoly status, I'm not saying that, people are, they wouldn't feel the need to maybe step up their game overall without direct, challenging competition. There's no one pushing them to innovate or improve. Are we going to have a repeat of maybe the stagnation that we got from WWE in the years past? More importantly, fans would suffer. Without competition, you have less choice and less wrestling to watch. Eventually, fans in this hypothetical circumstance may want to distance themselves from pro wrestling altogether. That's exactly what happened when WWE bought out WCW back in the day. WWE's product gradually dipped a bit, losing viewerships and maybe just not being as relevant as they were, dropping attendances year by year, but still sustaining themselves. However, WWE didn't care because there was no real alternative. Yeah, TNA was there, but they weren't the challenger that AEW is. WWE would naturally become maybe less on the ball with what they were doing overall. And it wasn't until 2019, when AEW came in existence, that WWE decided to take risks and improve their product overall, not just for casual fans, but for diehard ones as well. Additionally, AEW has done a lot of good for the wrestling industry, giving fans and wrestlers more choices, more opportunities than they would have had otherwise. WWE has also gained a lot from AEW. Let's not forget, the people that defect from AEW returning to WWE create moments, and vice versa. That happens for AEW quite a bit as well. Cody Rhodes may not have reached the level of success he would have today if it wasn't for AEW showing that he can become the superstar that he is now. It also forced WWE to pay attention to rising talents like Jade Cargill, Ricky Starks, and others, helping the entire industry grow and thrive, with wrestlers dictating where they want to go when they're worth the money. You can argue, though, about the backstage drama and all that other stuff, but certainly it's healthier for wrestling talents when there's more than one major player in the game. It's healthier for wrestling fans when there's more than one major player in the game. No matter what, WWE has had a multi-decade head start at the global level. They are recognized as pro wrestling. Some people just say WWE instead of pro wrestling, and that gives them a reach that AEW simply will not have anytime soon. Competition makes wrestling exciting and healthy for the long form. Fans get more choices, and that matters the most. Instead of constantly trying to counter AEW, WWE should maybe allow them to grow a little bit, just a little bit, but that's just for us. But that's not WWE's thing. If AEW had the top position, wouldn't they try and, squash out WWE if the roles were reversed? When both companies thrive, wrestling fans win. The industry overall wins. Fans get better entertainment. However, if WWE continues to go down this path, Tony Khan and AEW need to be more than ready. AEW's Double or Nothing 2025 press conference, he was asked about WWE's counter-programming tactics, and he said, "I'd say it's the most consistent event head-to-head scheduling I've seen since Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA saw a lot of scheduling that went that way. And I can tell you this will go a lot differently than that did." That's because Tony Khan has a lot more money than other people that have challenged WWE in the past. You watched this whole video and you haven't gotten into the comments yet? Come on, let us know what you would do in this wrestling war between WWE and AEW. Tell us what you would do if you were moving the chess pieces. Yeah, let us know. Hit that like button, share the link, and check out more videos just like this from Sportskeeda Wrestling.